Before we jump into today's adventure, did you know Little Ryan stories are now on Amazon? From laugh out loud moments to heartwarming lessons, these books are perfect for kids who love fun, adventure, and just a little bit of mischief. You can grab your copy of The Adventures of Little Ryan today. Links are right below in the description. Alright, let's get into the story. Nothing prepared Ryan for the noise, the colors, the chaos. This was New York City. Just a week ago, Dad had leaned over with that mysterious smile and said, "You've been patient, buddy. How about New York City?" Ryan's eyes had nearly popped out. Viola squealed, even though she had no idea where New York was. She just liked how it sounded. And now, here they were, yellow taxis honking like they were in a race, giant billboards flashing brighter than the sun, and smells of food drifting from every corner. Ryan thought the pizza smell was amazing until they learned the first real life lesson of the trip. Never ever buy hot dogs from a street cart that isn't approved. Mom had spotted something off, and sure enough, a local whispered, "Not that one, honey." Ryan decided maybe Target snack aisle would be a better and safer adventure. But before snacks came, the subway. For Viola, this was her very first bus and subway ride ever. Ryan had been on one as a baby, but didn't remember, so it felt new for him too. The moment they stepped on, the ground rumbled, lights flickered, and the wind whooshed through the tunnels. Viola gripped Mom's hands, eyes wide, then burst into giggles every time the train screeched. Dad grinned. "We need to take you two on the bus more often when we get back to Canada." And that was lesson number two. Sometimes the everyday things in one city feels magical in another. Still, New York was different. In Toronto, strangers held doors for you without thinking. Here, doors swung shut right in your face. Mom laughed about it. Dad shook his head, and Ryan decided he would definitely be a door holder back home. And on the roads, Dad had to keep reminding himself the speed limits were in miles, not kilometers, which made every drive feel faster. Their first shopping stop was Target, and you would have thought they'd entered a palace. Viola climbed into the red cart like she owned it. Ryan zoomed down the toy aisle, and Mom found the cutest mugs. Later, they wandered into M&M World and Disney Store, both exploding with colors so bright it felt like stepping inside a cartoon. Viola refused to leave without a mini plush, and Ryan couldn't stop staring at the giant wall of M&Ms. He whispered to Dad, "Can we live here?" As they headed back to the hotel, the city lights twinkled like stars had fallen right onto the street. Ryan leaned against the window, thinking, if this is only day one, what else is waiting for us? He had no idea that before the trip was over, he'd ride something even crazier than the subway. It was day two, and bus 320 was starting to feel like their boss. Ryan and Viola raced to the front seat again, noses to the glass. "Here it comes," Ryan whispered. "What comes?" Viola asked, already grinning. "The secret door to New York." The bus dipped into the Lincoln Tunnel. The air got cooler. You could smell a little rubber from the tires. The engine hum bounced off the tile walls while yellow lights zipped by like shooting stars. Viola squeezed Mom's hand. "If I hold my breath the whole way, will I get superpowers?" "Try," Ryan said. Try not to laugh. She lasted 5 seconds before giggling. A man at the back smirked over his phone like, "These kids." Then, sunlight. The tunnel spit them out and the city rose up in front of them. Tall glass, honking taxis, steam from the street. Ryan pressed his forehead to the window. "It's Lego City, but real." Their first big stop was the Empire State Building. Inside, everything felt fast. Check in, security, a short hallway, and then the elevator doors slid open. Over 100 floors up there, that said, pointing. But we'll go to 86. It's the open air deck. You feel the wind. They stepped in. The elevator shut up so quickly. Ryan's ears popped. Are we flying? Viola whispered. Numbers blinked. 12, 27, 44, 63, 86. Ding! Less than a minute. The doors opened and the wind met them like a shout. The city stretched in every direction. Tiny yellow taxis like toys. A river of silver bridges like strings. Ryan grabbed the rail, stunned. Mom pointed. That's the Chrysler building. And way out there, Brooklyn. Dad laughed at Viola's cheeks, puffing in the wind. Hold on to your bow, Captain. Ryan leaned close to the fence. I can't believe we're this high, and the building still keeps going. They took a last look, then rode back down. Another fast glide. Soft ding, like no big deal. They just stood above the clouds. They walked a few blocks and the city changed again. Flags fluttering, a gold statue shining by the plaza, a huge bronze man holding a globe across the street. Who is that? Ryan asked. Atlas, that said. He carries the world. They ducked into the Lego store and Ryan forgot how to talk. Giant brick builds of the skyline, a Lego taxi, a mini Empire State made of tiny pieces. Viola pressed her nose to a display as if the bricks might move. Then they rode up to the top of the rock. The elevator ceiling glowed like stars. At the top, glass walls made it feel like they were standing in the sky. From here, Central Park looked like a big green blanket. And, best part, the Empire State stood right there in the distance, like a friend waving back. It's like we were there, Ryan said, pointing, and now we're looking at where we were. Mom smiled. That's New York. Turn your head, and it's already a new view. As they headed out, a heavy door swung closed fast. Ryan jumped back, then grabbed it and held the person behind him. Thanks, buddy, the man said. Ryan shrugged. Toronto habit. On the way back to New Jersey, the skyline shrunk in the bus window. Ryan watched it disappear, then come back in tiny pieces on the glass. His reflection, the lights, is silver of river. The tunnel welcomed them again. The kids tried another 5 seconds of superpower breath, failed again, laughed again. They made one last stop. Walmart. Not a regular Walmart, a huge Walmart. Aisles like small streets, cereal boxes stacked taller than dad bikes, hanging like they lived on the ceiling. Is this bigger than ours in Canada? Mom asked, eyes wide. It's bigger than our whole mall, Ryan said. Viola sat in the cart like a queen, pointing at snacks they didn't even know existed. They turned a corner toward toys, and Ryan froze. Mom, why is there a giant dinosaur in Walmart? It stood there, bright, bold, and impossible to ignore. Viola waved at it like it might wave back. Mom laughed. Only in New Jersey. They grabbed snacks and rolled to the front. As the automatic doors whooshed open, Dad nudged Ryan. Rest up, Captain. Tomorrow's a big one. How big? Ryan asked. Dad grinned. Bigger than a dinosaur. Pack your swim things and your courage. Ryan didn't know what that meant, but he liked how it sounded. The next morning, the adventure started bright and early with a 3:20 bus from New Jersey. By now, Ryan and Viola were pros. They even knew where the Lincoln Tunnel was coming up and giggled about how we're going under the water again. Ryan kept pressing his face to the window. trying to see the fish, he swore, were just out there, beyond the darkness of the tunnel walls. At Port Authority, that had a plan. Today, we are taking the Staten Island ferry. Ferry? Like a boat? Ryan's eyes widened. Viola clapped her hands. I want a big boat. The terminal buzzed with people, tourists with cameras, locals rushing past. When the huge orange ferry pulled up, the kids froze for a second. It's huge, Ryan shouted. Viola gasped and said, it's bigger than our house. On board, the wind hit them instantly. Viola's hair puff buns danced like tiny clouds. Ryan gripped the railing and scanned the skyline as the city pulled away. Then, there it was, the Statue of Liberty, standing tall and proud. Mom, she's real, Ryan yelled, pointed as if he just discovered treasure. Cameras clicked all around them. Viola waved at the statue like it was an old friend. When they got off at St. George's Terminal, the family started walking and walking. Where's the subway here? Dad asked, scratching his head. They checked the map. Mom squinted, then started laughing. We are on the wrong island. Sure enough, the map showed the truth. They had to get back on the ferry to Staten Island before making their way home. Ryan giggled. So we took a boat ride just to take another boat ride? Back in Manhattan, it was time for Central Park. The moment they stepped in, the city noise faded into a mix of birdsong, distant laughter, and the smell of roasted nuts from a nearby cart. They passed a man playing the guitar and singing while a small crowd clapped along. Viola twirled to the beats while Ryan pretended to play an invisible drum. Then came the famous fountain, the one that inspired the Friends TV show intro. Mom gasped. This is it. The family took silly pictures, pretending to dance like the characters in the intro. A tourist even shouted, Pivots! Which made Dad laugh so hard he nearly dropped the camera. But Central Park wasn't small. It felt endless. They walked past horse drawn carriages, waving bicycles, and kids chasing kites. Eventually, they reached a huge playground with slides taller than Ryan. Viola spotted a splash fountain and squealed, good thing I wore my swimsuit, she declared, splashing her hands in the cool water. Ryan, on the other hand, wasn't interested in getting wet. I'm going to climb that rock, he announced, pointing at a boulder nearby. And climb he did, all the way up, grinning like he'd conquered a mountain. Just as they were about to leave, Viola made a new friend, a little girl with curly hair, who handed her a couple of colorful water balloons. Viola grinned, clutching them like treasure, while Ryan called out, don't throw it at me. As they walked out of the park, the sun was dipping low over the skyline. Ryan looked up at his parents. Can we come back tomorrow? Mom smiled. We'll see, but remember, every great adventure has to make room for the next one. The next morning, their very last day in New Jersey, Viola couldn't stop talking about swimming in the hotel pool. She'd been asking since the day they arrived. But when Mom finally got her into her swimsuit and told her to put her legs in the water, Viola screamed, No, I want to sit on the chair, and marched herself to a poolside seat like it was part of the plan all along. Meanwhile, Ryan splashed around in the shallow end, shouting, Mom, look, I'm swimming. He was mostly just kicking and splashing, but Mom didn't have the heart to correct him. Good job, Ryan, she said, grinning. After drying up, Dad suggested they explore something nearby. The American Dream Mall, one of the biggest malls in the whole country. The kids' eyes widened as soon as they walked in. There it was, a giant Lego Statue of Liberty towering over them. A massive Lego giraffe that looked like it was Peeking into the second floor, Ryan darted from one Lego display to another, while Viola pointed and giggled at everything. As they wandered, they spotted the MetLife Stadium just across the way. Dad leaned down and said, "That's where the next World Cup will be played." Ryan's jaw dropped. So, soccer and Lego in the same place. This is almost like heaven. Later, they went to get Thai food at a cozy spot near the hotel. While waiting for their food, Dad looked at the bill and chuckled. Only 6% tax here? In Ontario, it's 13%. Maybe we should move. Mom rolled her eyes, but Ryan quickly added, "If we move here, can we drive through the Lincoln Tunnel every day?" Everyone laughed, and Dad shook his head. "You just want to feel like you're underwater again, don't you?" Ryan grinned. "Of course. And next time, maybe we'll take something crazier than the subway." Mom and Dad exchanged a look, remembering the promise at the start of the trip. This time, they just smiled because they knew New York still had plenty of surprises waiting. Thank you for watching. We hope you have enjoyed this video as much as Little Ryan enjoyed New York City. And we will see you next time on the adventures of Little Ryan.